Welcome to this episode of Pen to Paper Press Podcast. I'm Cindy Coaches. There's a backstory weaved into each written project we create. To explore the creative process, I'm sitting down with authors, writers, editors, publishers, and an array of creative souls to have a conversation centered on how they develop their stories to completing their works of art. Each episode is an opportunity for us to explore mindsets, pearls of wisdom, and the life experiences that began our journey as an author from the moment we put pen to paper. In episode 8, titled Aligning with Your Audience, I spoke with Crystal Cockerham. In a recent conversation, I asked her if she would like to record another conversation. Crystal is an international best-selling author, certified red tent facilitator, and spiritual mentor. She has a gift for empowering awakened and empathic women on their self-discovery journey and helping me out on figuring out my own stuff. So, Crystal, welcome. I am so glad to be doing this again with you. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I wanna go back to that recording that we did. Well, it was over a year ago. I'd say a year and a half ago. It was number 8, and so it's been a while. And I would love to explore how divine timing and how our creativity can take us on this wildly creative adventure. Because with 8 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the recording, you received a divine animal sign. And we were talking about you doing retreats, and you said something about when I said I just took off my glasses. I don't know if you just noticed, but I saw blah blah blah, and then there was the herd of deer that went running past the end of my camper, which was a huge sign for both of us, and which was really weird because of the fact that the deer never ran behind my camper. They always went to the camper behind mine. And so anyways, and you said something about, and why am I not doing them on my own? And we were talking about you doing retreats with a partner and doing these collaborative events. And as far as I know, you haven't scheduled another or your own retreat, right?
Well, it's funny that you say that because the pandemic hit and just threw everybody for a loop, right? Put so many things on hold, including the travel industry, the hospitality industry. And while, I painstakingly accommodated everything, all of the regulations, and, dotted the I's and crossed the T's. It just was not in the cards during that 2-year period to have a destination retreat. So I have been sitting very firmly for the last month, tuning into, I literally have 3 different retreats that I have been given like titles, and this is what they're for, this is what you'll be doing. And so I'm sitting firmly in the, okay, you gave them to me. When, where? And, a couple of things have come up, but they just have not been right. And so when you reached out for me today, that's also part of the aligning, right? Aligning yourself to receive them and then deliver the message that your audience needs. needs to hear and what they're calling for, right? Because it doesn't come from the headspace. It
No.
comes from it comes from a completely different space.
Yes. Like the heart from divine. It comes from whatever it is that you believe. I know you did something else. In addition to doing the retreats, you partnered up with somebody else and you created your own jewelry line. And it's really interesting how creativity is something that it doesn't just follow one path, it takes us down many different paths.
Mm-hmm.
By nature, you're a writer. You love to write. You're in different magazines, you're writing blog posts, your written word is around in different medias. And then of course you've got your own book, and it's so cool to watch you do your guided meditations, to create your jewelry, by the way, which is very beautiful.
Thank you. We are very proud of that. That one came out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere. Um, the woman, Allie Kaus, who is an amazing, amazing holistic metalsmith and jewelry artist. Her and I were having a conversation because I was interviewing her for my Feminine Wisdom Keeper Spotlight. And that was, a series of lives that I did in my Facebook group, Feminine Wisdom Keepers. And, we were just kind of preparing her for the interview and talking about it. And all of a sudden, I swear we both had like an idea in a different way. And it was like, we need to create this jewelry. And like the retreats, it's weird because we both sat on it. We touched base a few times, but we both sat on it until it was time. And I think it was about a year and a half. And then it was like, okay, what are the next steps? This is happening. It's time now. Let's get it out there. And even right now, as we're recording this, we are just now beginning the launch phase for it to be out publicly worldwide.
That's so wonderful. And I love how you allowed, I'm going to word it that way, you allowed the divine timing, or, the timing to present itself for you to be in a place where it felt good that, okay, I'm ready to do this. And she was also in a place that it's like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this. And working together on it instead of pushing and forcing and we got to make this happen, come on, I want this out by my birthday, or I want it out by Christmas. Because what happens when we force,
Mm-hmm.
that creativity stops.
Yeah,
Mucked up.
it is very difficult. So it's funny that you bring that up, because we did not have a creative block around the jewelry line at all. Not even during that year and a half when we were on hiatus. There's something about the energetic chemistry between us that when we started speaking about it, we had no problem with the ideas coming. And what we were calling in for each individual piece, for the collection as a whole, for the women who were going to be, purchasing and wearing it, and all of that. It was effortless. But life has a way, like on both ends, of sometimes getting in your way. So it's allowing for the right timing to appear, for it to unfold. When you're planting a garden and you first plant those seeds, you can't force those first sprouts to appear. They're going to appear in their time, given the proper conditions. And so we kept our intention and our desire and our want, on the collection. And when we were both ready, it was just like, hey, are you ready? You want to set something up? Yep, give me a 1 month. I'm on a project I'm working on right now. Okay, let's do it. And boom, done.
It is so awesome that, you know, that it just happens that way. And, you know, I'm not sure how the podcast is, the whole image of the podcast. I feel that there's a huge shift coming in how I'm helping writers, and actually what I feel is that it's going to go more into creativity as a whole. And so it's really interesting that we're talking about, you know, jewelry versus books. Because normally I would be asking you all sorts of questions about, you know, how are you doing with your book? And actually, are you writing another book?
I literally last week, it was Friday. I think it was Friday. Could have been Thursday, but I think it was Friday. I actually found one mistake on the final proof, you know, that you say, oh yeah, it's all good. Like you only say it's not good if there's really truly a mistake, right? And so we were at that point and like, this is good except. And I took a picture, and you know how you get that fancy little editing pen on your phones now. That is so awesome. And I circled it. I'm like, this isn't right. So yes, that will be coming out this fall.
So what's the title if you want to share it? If you don't, that's fine. I get that.
That's okay. It's Reclaiming Your Midlife Mojo. That is the
Ooh.
title of the book. And it's a collective work with myself and a few other fabulous female authors and entrepreneurs who are sharing their stories.
Nice. I know that you enjoy doing those collaborative books. And how many have you done now? I put you on the spot. I'm really sorry, Crystal. I know it's been a handful. We'll just say
It, I I think it's I think we're up to like I think we're on two hands
nice.
for sure. We're on two hands. Um, yes, and I do love them. I very much enjoy them. Each one is their very own special container, their own personality, their own intention and messaging. We're talking because you were very patient when I said, yes, I just need to figure out what I want to talk about. You know, that one morning, I can't even remember what I was doing, but I was working on something creative and it was being aligned for everything to come through, to come in and then come out through me in a different way. Whether you're writing or doing some kind of artistry or you're creating in any way, there comes a point where you set judgment aside, right? You set aside what you think you know and you need to write about or create, and you just let it flow through. And it's a very powerful moment because once you quite literally, it's like picking yourself up, like you pick a baby up out of a high chair. It's like picking yourself up and putting yourself on the other side or in a different room altogether. And you're just letting things flow through you and just letting them come out without filtering them, without judging. Oh, but wait, I need to tell them this. I need to, no, 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 no. That comes after.
Uh-oh, we're frozen.
I was just going to text you like, wow, somebody really needs to hear that because we broke the Zoom.
Well, I was sitting here like, right, well, hi, Crystal. You're frozen. Oh,
So I'm not sure when I froze for you.
it was where you were done saying, Oh, shoot. Now it was there. Now it just went away. But it was basically you allowing yourself to write without the filter and just allowing those words to flow, to let that creativity move through you without the judgment and not, pausing to change how how it's written, what the words are. You're not self-correcting and
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
channeling that information through and allowing it to reside on the page. That's not your wording, it's whatever I just made up.
And no, you're spot on with where I was headed for that because it's very important as soon as you start that self correction, that self editing. But wait, I need to. You're engaging a completely different part of your brain that's yours and where you're doing it for you instead of for your audience, right?
Oh,
um
right.
like
Yes.
that doesn't belong in that moment. That comes after you get it all the way out and you walk away from it, and then you come back engaging your knowledge and present day and saying what came through. Oh, well, this is different than what I thought it was and I like it, or this is way different. Holy crap, what am I do now? I need a little bit more time with this, right? Because I've experienced it both ways. And I think for those of us of the generation where when we went through school, everything was um, pen and paper, right? Because there weren't computers.
Mm-mm.
Computer was something that you got for half an hour a week at school to play on trail
Well, see,
or learn DOS. It wasn't a place that you did the writing,
no.
right? And there's this conditioning that we have been given with this beautiful technology that affords us and saves us so much time and ink and typewriter ribbon and all of that good stuff. But it conditions us to try to make it perfect in an end product before we get our thoughts out.
Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. So there are, I would say every single time, very rarely do I ever first go to the computer. I have, clipboards, notebooks, and paper. I keep journal even in my car because you just once you start, hey, once it comes in, you get it out. Um, and sometimes it's a chunk, sometimes it's the whole thing, sometimes they get like the outline of it, like bullet points of what needs to be spoken to. Um, but then as soon as I start typing, I don't stop, because when I stop, then I lose the flow and I have to, walk away. I need to go through, my process to bring myself back into alignment so that I can finish that message.
What I have found, and I shared it in the writer's circle that I host for a select group. They were in one of my coaching programs, and so we decided to keep it going, that we wanted to maintain, well, celebrating each other and working and writing together. And
Mm-hmm.
so during, I think it was the last writer's circle, I was sharing that what I found lately is that when I'm on the computer, I'll be typing along and all of a sudden I'll think, oh, I got to change a page on this website. Oh, I need to update this for a client. Oh, I forgot to do that, or oh, that would be a great phrase for, and I'm pulling myself out of where I'm at and off that page, and I'm like mentally distracting myself with the woulda shoulda couldas, meaning I should be doing something else, or it would be good for me to do this now instead of that. And when I find that I write the good stuff, I'm going to word it that way. I have found that when I write the good stuff is in the morning, and it is with the physical pen, with the physical notebook. And some mornings it's after I poured a cup or coffee. I don't drink coffee. When I poured a mug of tea, and I'm still in bed, or before or after. I'm typically still in bed and I'm writing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when the the content just rolls for me. And I know a lot of that is because I haven't, one, turned on the distraction tools, my cell phone. I haven't looked at that yet. I'm not looking at my computer. My brain is not distracted with where do I need to be? What do I need to be doing? Oh, you should be doing this instead. Because
Yeah.
before 7 o'clock in the morning, my time is my time. This girl doesn't get up and do stuff for others before 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, when I do, when I am in that process of the computer, I literally mute the speaker on my laptop,
Mm-hmm.
and I will put my phone on do not disturb. And I even put, like, I have a little sound machine that I play in the hallway right outside my door, and I put that on because everybody who lives with me knows that when that's on, I'm doing something like this,
Okay.
our conversation, and I'm recording, or I'm with the client, or I'm writing. And that is, if you're not dying, if I don't need to call 911, you're not bleeding to death, nothing's broken, nobody else has died, you stay away from the door and you're quiet in the house. That's kind of like that signal, like, nope, you're out. You stay out. And that's how it helps me to not, I'm a tab collector, right? I have way too many tabs open on my computer at any given moment. But when I'm in that mode, none of those matter. I'm really good with on my phone, even if I had forgotten to put that on do not disturb. I don't get alerts or sounds when I get a text message or a messenger, or even if somebody's calling me, it's on vibrate. So, I might hear that, but I'll send it straight to voicemail if I forgot. So I do everything that I can for those technological distractions to be right out the window, so to speak. They're not in my space, because that's a laser focus. It's part of my purpose. It's part of, my mission of helping others really stand in their truth and claim their sovereignty. And my writing does that. So when I'm in that mode, just like when I'm with a client, whether it's virtual or in person, nothing else exists. So that whatever needs to come through does and can.
That brings up an interesting point, because you have this ability to not only tell the outside world, yep, I'm writing, I'm in creative space, I'm taking care of this task, but you yourself have said, all right, self, we got this task, we're going to focus on it, and don't you be going off on this. And yes, I have seen screen shares of all your little tabs going across. I won't tell anybody. But anyways, so that brings me to wanting to ask you, how did you get to that stage? Because I know that this didn't just happen overnight. I mean, are you, is this something that comes easy for you, or is this something that you're still working on to maintain that? Yep, nope, we're going to hold off on that. Take a note, whatever, take a number.
It's really both. And so it did take me a little bit to get there because, hello, recovered perfectionist, multitasker Wonder Woman, mom of three, and all had all kinds of activities that they were doing. I seriously don't know how the heck I did stuff, but somehow I did. And I managed to do a lot. However, when I really started doing my work, I really discovered where I was needing boundaries for myself and for others.
Okay.
Right. So boundaries are a big one, especially if you don't live alone. Boundaries are a huge one. And then as far as like the gifts of being able to just let things flow through, yeah, I had to learn that in different ways. And each project is different. It has its own type of energy. And at any time I find myself getting frustrated, I'm like, no, that's the wrong part of it, right? The brain self is engaging. I'm like, no, I can't resist this, because sometimes I literally physically need to like grab my laptop, take it to a high spot. I have to be standing to do it. Or I have to do short spurts and I need to like go up and down because what's coming through is like so high and so big in the way that it's coming through that there's a couple different things happening. So when I do some of the collaborations like I do with Inspired Living Publishing, those are personal stories.
Oh, yes.
Of mine, of me. So it's me digging deep into my history, right? To pull forward what needs to be said for the me now, but for all of those other women also who need to hear it so they can pull themselves out of it too. And in that process, it's amazing the insight that you get. Where it really deepens you more so into that healing. And it really expands in such a different way that physically, for me, I need to get up and move. So when I sense that that's happening with certain things, that's the perfect time for Crystal to do laundry. That's the perfect time for Crystal to walk the 3 blocks it is to go to the mailbox and then walk back. Oh, yeah. Okay. Cleared that away because I had to bring that up again. Right. So there's that. And then there's different writings where, yes, I'm sharing experiences, but it's more of a teaching, standpoint, like the Radical Self-Love book did. And the piece in there was Be a Fear Rebel. And Lori had asked me to write a piece on, like, the chapter she assigned me was about comfort zone. I'm like, okay. Wow, did that come out? Like, it just like flooded out. Once that gate opened, I didn't need to do the laundry. I didn't need to go up and down the stairs. I didn't have to go to the mailbox and back, because it came from, that teacher in me. And so, each piece has its different energy and its different personality. And so the alignment is somewhat different. So, stepping outside of your comfort zone and writing a teaching piece with some simple exercises to take yourself through to help you get out of your comfort zone didn't require me to dig deep into something in my past that deeply needed to be healed, because I mean, it was just one of those things that threw me off course, right?
Right.
So for me, I teach people how to create sacred space for themselves and for others and make that part of their daily practice where they're giving themselves the audience that they need so that they can align with, the highest version of themselves, which, I oftentimes refer to as your inner goddess. But also it's known as your spirit self, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to align with the divine so that you can bring through what you need for you.
Right.
And, that does come from developing a practice that you are consistent with so that you can learn your patterns in what works for you and you can implement them.
Because what works for one person may not for the next. And same with the projects. What may work for one project may not for the next. It's like this one book project that I'm working on, that if I'm on the computer, I'm in everything else. And it's like a distraction tactic.
Mm-hmm.
And which of course drives me crazy, but by me connecting with that book through pen and paper, I'm probably digging out more of a, I don't want to say an aligned piece, but something that comes on a deeper level. And actually it has many more, there's good English. it has more metaphors in it, and which of course metaphors just allow us to interpret our own meaning versus, this is how it is, or this is what I want you to believe, or this is what I want you to see. Metaphors allow your own imagination to run with the content and decipher it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, on other book projects or other written projects, I don't have necessarily that issue, but this one particular one, it's like, oh, I need to update the whatever on Pen to Paper Press website. And oh, I haven't been on Elements for a Healthier Life in a while, and I really need to update the plugins. And then it's, oh, this client, I had my plugins updated. Oh, I should dig into so-and-so's website and update those plugins because I'm sure she's got it too. And, has the same updates that need to be tended to. And so I rabbit hole down these different things to delay myself and pull myself out of it. So I find it interesting that I'm not staying in that alignment, or I'm not staying, focused on that particular task. And so, yeah, it is strangely bizarre, I guess. But
yeah, well, because it sounds like what you're doing is you're putting together a process of what you have trialed and errored,
oh God, yeah.
and things that have worked for you and things that don't work for you, because they're going to work for those people who are going to be taking your course, right?
Well, see, and it's, it's a book on way back when I became a health coach. I got certified as a health coach, and I found immediately that coaching wasn't my gig. It really wasn't. I say that now respectfully. And a couple of months afterwards, that's when I started the Elements for a Healthier Life digital magazine. And I did that I produced 15 issues. and life events happened, and it got tabled, and then I realized I just couldn't keep going with that project. And then other life events happened, but I always have had this knowing deep inside, and it comes through life experiences, things that I've witnessed, so on and so forth, that everything is connected. How we eat, what we eat affects our mental, our physical, how our spiritual beliefs are. That affects how we eat, how we, our relationships. It affects our workplace, our relationships, our workplace. Those can be intertwined, but yet they're two very separate things. And how they interact, because of the fact that in many cases our relationships come from our workplace. How many friends do you have that came from a place that you worked? It's the greatest place to meet people and form friendships. So, but everything is connected. And so that's the book that I'm working on. One of the books that I'm working on. And that's the book, you pegged it right on the head, that's the one that I'm using life experiences, and I'm using those different things. And maybe when I'm writing it, maybe I'm not wanting to dig that deep into it because maybe I'm not through it yet. And or maybe I've got a little bit of that a little bit. Silly girl. I have a lot of that imposter syndrome. I'll word it that way. I have a lot of that imposter syndrome that says, who are you to share this? Yeah, blah, 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 talk to the hand. And who's going to listen to me? So then, in one podcast, and I can't remember who it was with, it was this spring. We were talking about imposter syndrome, and they called me out on you teach what you need to learn. And so it was kind of like, oh yeah, And so imposter syndrome is something that I have been looking at, and it's like, okay, well, who am I not to share this?
Exactly.
I've had these experiences, and I know that, this can help somebody else to understand that, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. Well, okay, I can adjust my sails and not go down that, traverse that same path. It is through story, we share our story. We share life experiences, and we're sharing that wisdom that we have gained, like you said, through trial and error. That, stumble, face plant, stand back up, dust yourself off, and like, okay, I got this. Let's try it again. Or you're like, yep, been there, done that. I really don't need to try that one again. What else can I do?
Mm-hmm.
How can I handle this one different? Yeah, it's really interesting. And for somebody who keeps saying that I'm not a coach, I'm finding myself in that position of being a coach and guiding people on whatever it is that they're working on. And what I'm finding is the relationship between workplace, spirituality, what we eat, and physical movement, body movement. How, I knew they were all connected, but I'm really finding how, on a much deeper level, and I guess I'm not using, the correct wording on it. Those words are evasive right now. But how it's all intertwined. Because if you're in a crappy mood because you ate a whole box of whatever, candy bars, so you ate a whole bunch of sugar, and you get that high and then you drop down, and then you didn't have enough sleep the night before because you were thinking about something that happened at work, and oh, I got to deal with so and so in the family about such and such. All of that stuff, it all connects. So then at what point do you like come back into alignment with self and say, whoa, wait, stop. How do I want to be? And it's really interesting because I was on a call earlier today, and the topic was opportunity and picking yourself up. It's really interesting now because that I was the person who shared, how do I pick myself up? Yeah, you face plant, you fall down, you stumble, and if you're like me and a nurturer, I know you're busy taking care of everybody else, and who's the last one you take care of? Yourself. And but when you start asking, what do I want, that is when we start to feel those tremors of earthquakes within, going, whoa, what? You asked me? What do I want?
Mm-hmm. Well, and what do I need?
And what do I need? Yes.
It's very important, because once you learn to fulfill your needs, right? To fill your cup, you're so much more available.
Yes.
For yourself and for others in such a bigger, bolder, and more beautiful way, because you're not coming from I need to do this, I have to do this, blah, blah, blah. No, it's, hey, I can do that. I'm going to do that. Let's do this. Right? Because you already have everything that you need. So you have it to give.
Right. So then, because I've blabbered on long enough, go figure. How do you come into your own alignment? How do you stop the chaos on the outside world and say, Crystal needs some crystal time? How do you kind of turn it back in and take care of self?
It's different at different times for me, as I'm sure that it is for everyone listening,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
On a daily basis, I need quiet time in the morning. I am not one of those people to wake up and be clear-minded and focused and ready to answer 50 questions. Not even 5, not even 1. Like, just let me be until I gain my bearings. Like, I'm awake. I need a little bit of time. And even though there are days where I require more quiet time throughout the day than others, I definitely need that quiet time in the morning. That's where I am really the most clear, so that I can get what I need to get and center myself, right? With that alignment. And the more that you practice and discover what it is that you need routinely and give it to yourself, then it's easier to find and discover what those things are that you need in those other moments where things feel like they're too much, right?
Right.
It's not necessarily going to be your routine actions. It's going to be your routine actions in a setting. So I do this an online program. It's called the Intuitive Connection Circle.
Okay.
And in that program, we focus a lot on your daily practice and changing it, right? Finding the different exercises that help you to tune in, to connect, and to align. And so part of that is, okay, if you're someone who works outside of the home, then you might need to get up and physically go for a walk outside for 10 minutes to find that clarity, to step away from this is too much. I need my time, right? And I'm talking like a coffee break, where, okay, you might have your phone on you, but you're not connecting to the world. You're connecting to yourself. And in that process of walking, you're literally stepping out of the freneticness.
Okay.
For me, as an empath, and this is how I describe it most when I do energy work with people who've never experienced it before, because it's something that most people can't see, right? So they're like, how can I grasp onto this thing that I don't understand, right? That I can't see. And it's the the old televisions where you had the TV antenna, pre-cable people, pre-cable. Okay. The signal isn't coming in so clear because you have all of these other stuff trying to come in. Right. Think of how fuzzy that screen was. I mean, your energy gets, so of course it's going to interfere with your mind and how clear and focused you can be. So in that walking and really just walking out of that scenario and just unplugging from everything for, 5-10 minutes. I'm not saying be rude and walk through people and barrel them over, but you can, walk into the next building or walk through the building and still smile and acknowledge that other humans exist in the world with you as you are really focused on, getting that clearer signal for yourself.
Right.
So that's one of those things that you can do. Essential oils are beautiful. They're beautiful. And I use them frequently, right? Your sense of smell is big. And hydrating yourself, just taking those little tiny moments for yourself to really just clear.
And asking, what do I need
throughout the day? Yeah.
Yeah. And asking, what do I need? What do I want?
Yep.
And asking it, at yourself, for yourself, versus what does the world need from me?
Yeah, no, it's what do I need right now in this moment. Maybe you need a smoothie or a cup of coffee or freshen water bottle, or you want to go to the store and get that salad because leftovers from last night is not what you need right now. Right? Anything like that, those things help. They take you out of the situation and they really just help reset you.
Yes. Agreed. I just shifting the energy, like you said, the energy of the circumstances makes a huge difference. Just it helps us to get out of our head.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps us to maybe align to the priority better. So we've kind of not really talked about books at all.
Well, we did. We talked about books, but yeah, I think most importantly is it's really taking care of yourself and managing your energies that, and you had spoken to it. You call it the imposter syndrome. I refer to it as as self-talk, right? Self-talk of the faithful general. The faithful general's job is to protect you from everything that is not known, whether it's the best thing in the world for you or it's really going to do you harm. It doesn't know, it just knows that it's not the same, right? So it's going to rear up when you're doing those big things. And that's when you just like pick that up and say, no, you're my faithful general. You serve me. I don't serve you. There you go. You're over there. See you later and do your thing. Right? We
Right.
all have it.
Oh, yeah.
We all have it. I mean, he's there to protect us in those moments where we need that protection from, pain, trauma, and whatever is happening at that moment where we emotionally and physically cannot process what's happening in that moment. So, that little voice comes to keep you from feeling the pain and the hurt, right? Again, or from putting you through those moments or like moments again. So even if, that book that you're writing, you're going into hurtful times that took you away from your path, right?
Right.
Where life happens. And there's still pain there. Yes, I know there's still pain there, and I can do this thing, right? Like, I've got this. So, in any creative, whether it's this, a podcast, or a meditation, or writing an article, or writing a chapter for a book, or writing a book, is really taking yourself out of the way and aligning with the birth of what you're creating so that it can come through.
I like that, aligning with the birth of what you're creating, because it takes us out of it as such. It takes thought out of it. It's connecting with that flow when the words just come, and there's no hesitation. There's no staring at the blank page, wanting to throw the, typewriter, computer, whatever, keyboard out the window, going, I hate you, and chucking it out the window. And, it's the whole creative process fascinates me on why it's available to us at certain times and not available to us at other times. And truly, it does come to, when are you in alignment with yourself? It's not being in alignment with what somebody wants from you, because if you put that pressure on, that I've got to write this for Tom, Dick, or Harry, or Susie, Sally, whoever, if you put that on there, then you're putting this pressure on yourself from an outside source. And it's not only your inner critic that starts beating you up, but it's that other critic that we have inside that says, so-and-so thinks that you're not going to get this done. So-and-so thinks this is going to be a piece of crap. So you get not only your own your own inner critic, but the imaginated inner critic that you add in addition. So then you got both of them telling you, this is going to suck. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You say this.
Yeah. Well, and it's also knowing your energy too. It's recognizing when it's time to be creative and in that flow, and when it's time to move.
Yes, because there are people who write better in the afternoon or in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
In the afternoon, I know. Come 3:30, my brain is like, nope, I'm ready for a nap. And so it's like, yeah, that creativity is not going to be forthcoming I'm
Right.
motivated.
It's more like the shorter tasks or whatever.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is an alignment too,
Yeah.
right?
Knowing when you're creative, knowing your own rhythm of when things work the best. So anyways, is there anything that I didn't bring up, you didn't bring up that you wanted brought up?
I don't know. I feel like we had a really good in-depth discussion about all of those things that can keep us from our alignment and finding what works for you. And again, don't judge it. Don't filter it. It's okay if it's not the same as it was yesterday.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We're all different. So yeah, I feel complete. Thank you.
I love it. I feel complete. That is awesome. So, where can people find you on the internet?
So to learn more about me, and all of my books are listed there as well under media, is my website, crystalcockerham.com. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter as Wisdom Awakens. On Facebook, if you go into the Facebook search, you can type in Crystal Cockerham and my business page will pop up. Crystal Cockerham, retreat leader, spiritual mentor, author. So yeah, connect with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts and how you stay in alignment with your message.
It is highly recommended to check out that page. Yeah, you'll see me there.
Thank you.
Well, Crystal, I want to thank you very much for joining me here on Pen to Paper Press podcast. Thank you. Before we end our time together, I'd like to say thank you for listening to my conversation with Crystal Cockerham. To access her website and learn more about the products and services she offers, visit pen2paperpress.com/podcast and select the show notes page for this episode. There's a good chance someone you know needs to hear this episode. Help spread the wisdom, share it on social media, and you never know who else needs to hear the messages that were weaved into our conversation. To receive future episodes in your inbox, subscribe to the Pen to Paper Press newsletter and follow the Pen to Paper Press podcast on your favorite application. Take care, and until next time, keep your pen to paper and write. Your words have power. Your story matters. Bye for now.